Hey there everybody, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Favorite Albums Through the Decades, the show we are doing throughout the month of May. We're trying to cram as many as we can into the last couple of days of the month here as we wind down the month of May. Today, we're taking a look at Alice Cooper. Of course, originally the Alice Cooper Band, and Alice Cooper the man, the solo act, has released a lot of albums in his career spanning many, many decades. So, a lot to choose from here. This was kind of difficult, all right, because I'm a fan and I like a lot of albums, and especially a couple of the decades have some really, really stellar releases. So, it was kind of hard to choose my favorites for some of these decades. And you know what I found? That, I did like a ranking the album show of Alice Cooper sometime, I think, in early 2020 or something like that. And it's like this is one of those catalogs where I think, your preferences kind of change a lot over time. So there were, I think, some albums that might have ranked higher on my album ranking that now that I'm kind of thinking about it, well, I may like other albums from that decade, maybe just a hair better. Who knows? Ask me next week, I may change my mind again. So I don't know. So anyway, so we're going to start in the 60s, obviously, and also everybody please rank these by decade, like you like them. So pick your favorite from each decade in the comments below. It'll be interesting to see what folks come up with. So the 60s, obviously, only one release. So by default, the winner is Pretty's For You on Frank Zappa's Straight Records. 1969, June 1969. They're the guys in the band. I will go on record saying I am not much of a fan of this album. So it wins by default only. This is a very kind of garagey, psychedelic rock type of an album. I mean, it is what it is. I think that the band still had a lot of growing to do, and there are some moments that are okay on here, but overall, I'm not a huge fan of this album. It's one of my least favorite Frank Zappa albums, actually, but it gets the pick because there are none others in the 60s, right? But of course, we move into the 70s. Different story altogether. Some great choices here. For me, it was always going to be between Love It to Death, Killer, and $1 Billion Babies. No disrespect to School's Out or Welcome to My Nightmare or any of those other very fine albums from the decade. But ultimately, I decided this time, because I'm trying to remember, I think in my album ranking, I think I rated $1 Billion Babies as my number one all time over this one. If I'm not mistaken, maybe it was the other way around. Anyway, I'd have to go back and rewatch, but it's usually about these two albums. Today I went with Killer. All right, from 1971. Just a fantastic, fantastic album of dark, gothic, hard rock. All right, creepy. You got some good time rock and roll on here. You got the more kind of morbid, horror rock type of thing. You got Under My Wheels, great anthem. Be My Lover, another great anthem. You got Halo of Flies. The wonderful Desperado. I mean, the melodies on this album are just incredible. You Drive Me Nervous, good up-tempo rocker. And then you got Yeah, 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 another catchy rocker. And then, of course, Dead Babies and Killer to finish it all off, right? I mean, hard to beat this album. Really hard to beat this album. Of course, produced by Bob Ezrin. $1 Billion Babies, really close. Ask me next week, I might change my mind, so who knows. Going into the 80s, again, a lot of choices. Ton of choices. You've got the, obviously the Blackout albums, right? Early in the decade, Flush the Fashion, Special Forces, Zipper Catches, Skin and Dada. I'm not an enormous fan of any of those. They're okay. There's some good moments. And then, of course, he takes a break for a few years, comes back with more of the kind of the glam metal, the hair metal, whatever you want to call it, the big commercial hard rock stuff later in the decade for some, pretty solid records. Of course, the Trash album, released right at the end of the 80s, did huge business for Alice. Constrictor also did pretty well. But I tend to always go for Raise Your Fist and Yell from 87. Good, solid, hard rock album. Freedom, Step on You, Give the Radio Back, Lock Me Up is really good. Prince of Darkness, really good track. Time to Kill, just good hard rock record, muscular guitar work. It's definitely from that era, right? If you're a fan of the mid-late 80s kind of, like I said, commercial hard rock, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. It's totally from that time, but I think it's just really catchy songs. Alice sounds great, really good band. So that's my pick for the 80s. Going into the 90s, all right, not a lot of releases, only 2 actually. This was kind of tough because they're both very solid. You've got 1991's Hey Stupid, and then 1994's The Last Temptation. They're both kind of different. I think the Hey Stupid album is a continuation of Trash and Raise Your Fist and Yell and Constrictor, that sort of thing. And then The Last Temptation is a little bit more of a serious record, less of the kind of fun party rock stuff. I like them both for what they are. I'm going to go with Hey Stupid, which is this one in the middle, right? I got the 3-on-1 thing here. Title track is great. Love's a Loaded Gun I like a lot. Feed My Frankenstein is one of my favorite Alice tunes. I love that. A lot of fun. Hurricane Years, Burning Our Bed, Dangerous Tonight. It's a fun album. Last Temptation is really good too. So that's a kind of a close one. So that's my pick. Hey Stupid from 1991. All right, into the 2000s we go. We've got a slew of releases in the 2000s. I believe in my album ranking, out of all these 2000 records, you got Brutal Planet, Dragontown, The Eyes of Alice Cooper, Dirty Diamonds, and Along Came a Spider. I'm pretty sure on my album rankings that I ranked Brutal Planet the highest. It's easily the heaviest out of all these. Brutal Planet is pretty damn heavy. It's kind of new metal in spots almost, but I don't really mind. A lot of down-tuned, crunchy guitars, I don't really mind. I like the heaviness of it, the aggressiveness of it. But I think since I've done that particular ranking, I have come to appreciate the really cool concept album Along Came a Spider even more from 2008. This is really good. This is one of Alice's really great achievements since the 70s, I think. And this one has continued to kind of rise up the ranking for me. Wake the Dead is great. Vengeance is Mine, terrific song. Wrapped in Silk, Killed by Love, I'm Hungry, Salvation. Good, heavy record, kind of dark record, right? But it's got the kind of accessibility that Alice's albums always seem to have. So, yeah, if you missed out on 2008's Along Came a Spider, you should go check that out. It's quite good. All right, and that was 2008. So into the 2010s, we've got Welcome to My Nightmare, and Paranormal. Both really good. I like both of them a lot. I went back and forth with this one, back and forth. Ultimately, I decided to go with 2017's Paranormal by a hair. I think they're both good. I think the Welcome to My Nightmare album is a little on the long side. There's some filler on it. There's some really good tracks. But I like the kind of compact nature of Paranormal, and I think top to bottom, 10 tracks, it's all really strong. Title track is great. Dead Flies, Fireball, Dynamite Road is really good. Holy Water, Rats. You got Paranoiac Personality, Private Public Breakdown. Good, up-tempo, hard rock record. Memorable songs. A lot of fun. I listened to that quite a bit when it first came out. And then in the 2020s, of course, we only have this year's Detroit Stories, released back in February. Fun album, fun return to kind of like their garage rock days, going back to the Detroit days. A lot of good tracks on here. It's a fun album. I think this is going to be just kind of like a stopgap to another fairly normal-ish Alice Cooper album, because I think this is more of kind of like a throwback to the old days. But it's fun. Good rockin' tunes on here. Bunch of covers. Good, fun stuff. So we'll see what else happens in the 2000s, right? If we ever decide to resurrect the show once again, maybe we'll be revisiting the 2020s, right? So, so in the 2020s, we've got Detroit Stories, Paranormal for the 2010s, Along Came a Spider from the 2000s. Going to go with Hey Stupid for today from the 90s. Raise Your Fist and Yell from the 80s. Killer from the 70s, and by default, Pretties for You for the 60s. So there you have it, everybody. Give your favorites by decade from Alice Cooper in the comments below. Like I said, it'd be pretty interesting to see what people come up with here, because we have a lot to choose from. And some, especially in the kind of 70s for me, well, most of the decades are pretty tough, because you have a lot of really good contenders there. So, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, of course. We're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up, we've got more of these. We've got, just to let you know what's coming up on the schedule this week, we've got, and hopefully we can squeeze them all in, because a few of them I have a bunch of guests, and it's been hard to kind of get everybody's schedules together. That is the challenge as we move into the warmer months, because people are doing all sorts of things, and it's hard to get schedules together which is why I think for the summer you're going to see a lot more shows of just myself, because it's easier for me to just record stuff whenever I have time, as opposed to trying to get 2 and 3 people's schedules, correct. So we'll still see the Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday shows as always, but for some of these other oddities that I do, these kind of monthly shows, like the kind of the limited series and things like that, you'll probably be seeing me do more of those just myself. It's just easier to schedule, especially in the summertime. So, but what we've got coming up, we've got the Rolling Stones on this favorite albums through the decades. We've got Black Sabbath. We've got Rush, Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Saxon, Steely Dan, ELO. I might be missing one. I think that's all we've got on this. Oh, and ZZ Top. ZZ Top is happening also. So I think that's it, and that's going to round out the month. We might have 1 or 2 extras. We'll just kind of throw those in to make up for the couple days that we didn't have them this month, right? We should definitely have 31 by the end of the month in total for the month of May. So that's what you got coming. So visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. We'll see you guys tonight for the Hudson Valley Squares and a very cool show. We've got another Ultimate Mixtape Challenge show happening tonight. This is the Ultimate Progressive Rock Mixtape Challenge. We've got myself and Martin Popoff, Kurt Vanderhoof from Metal Church and Presto Ballet, and none other than Mike Portnoy, battling it up to see who comes up with the best 90-minute mixtape. And our judge tonight will be none other than Jack Toledano. So that's all happening tonight here on the channel. Tomorrow we've got In the Prog Seat once again. Wednesday is your What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility new product review shows. And then Thursday, of course, back to the Monsters Den. So stay tuned for that and more here on the channel. I am Pete Pardo. See you all real soon. Bye-bye.